Well, hey everyone, happy Thursday. Welcome to So What, the Marketing Analytics and Insights Live Show. I'm Katie and I am joined by John today.
Yes, Chris is on the road, so it's solo, me and my hostage video here.
You can't see it, but very clever behind John. So, John is in the Berkshires today and he is at the Workshears. Very clever. I love it.
Yes, solid brand, and it's tough because I want to get a little bit more of the branding in there, but I'm also like, yeah, I don't need to be just like a floating head at the bottom of the frame. So I wish we had a better camera setup, but here we are.
So today, John, we are talking about we're doing part of our summer makeover series. And what we're doing in the summer makeover series is we're taking things that we already have that have just been on the list forever. And I'm sure this is true for a lot of people where we need to redo them. We just haven't been able to make the time. So how can we use generative AI to make the process go faster or to do it, better or whatever the thing is. So today we're using generative AI to align your services, and in this case, our services. And so for those who don't know, on our website, let's add this. All right, John and I are winging it today. Just kidding. I'm very well prepared. On our website, which we have built completely ourselves, minus some web development for the theme, all of the content is built by us. I personally redid our services pages not that long ago. And by that, it was probably 2 years, but it feels like yesterday. And we know that our services don't do a great job of describing what it is that we do. We think it does, but we're on the inside. And I think that this is a problem for a lot of businesses is, well, we understand it intimately. Why is it so hard for us to describe it for other people? So we have our ideal customer profile generation, our AI consulting, marketing strategy, measurement, strategic consultation, data intelligence, fractional team member. And then we have our training and education. So we have our academy, workshops, speakers, and so on and so forth. To us, that feels really intuitive. But I've talked to a lot of people who are like, I don't know how to sell you, and people don't know how to hire you. And as a business owner, that's a big problem. So before we get into how to fix this, I would like a little bit of insight from you, John, because you've been on the sales side and the biz dev side for a long time. Like, why is it so hard for us to just tell people what it is we do?
Yeah, for us, it's simple. It's just because everything is always changing so fast. I mean, because as you know, like our business is probably morphed 3 or 4 times in the past 8 years, as far as what people are looking for. It's kind of as the bar moves forward, we started with machine learning, using that to power analytics, but then AI popped in on the scene and this kind of changed everything, added a bunch of new options. So yeah, in a perfect world, you over like a 3-year cycle, you would start with something like this, explaining here's what we do, but then ultimately this would just morph into case studies. It would be like, here's the 3 or 4 different things we've done for customers. And then that way, when people have those problems, they're actually searching for the problems. They're not searching for what the services are or what the solutions are. But for us, these things continue to keep morphing and changing. And so we're still, a lot of the stuff up here, we have a small group of customers and they don't want to talk about what we're doing for them. They don't want to give us case studies. And so we could do generic language around what it is, but we really need to constantly be adapting. And pretty much every time the product changes, we really should be going back and revamping the site. But it's just, there's only so many hours in the day. And we do have, paying clients that we have to take care of and keep happy, which is at the top.
I was going to say, who do we think is going to do that? Because you're looking at the guy who does that.
Right. And it's always the challenge of going back and forth is you get to a point where just like, okay, we can't stand it anymore. Like we have to put some time towards this because it's now a pain point as opposed to just not being 100% accurate.
And that's about where we're at with it. Like I felt pretty confident last time I updated this, and now I'm looking at it like, what was I thinking? What am I doing? Well, and it's interesting because you bring up the point about case studies, and today isn't about case studies, but we do have a decent amount of case studies on our website. But to your point, they don't cover everything that we have capabilities for. One of the challenges that I have with a case study is that there is an expectation of this like magic, and we increase sales by 30%, or we, decrease turnover by 10%. Like a lot of times, especially in consulting and the services industry, you don't have results like that necessarily. Like a lot of times you give advice, you do the consultation, you give people some tools, but then it's on them to do something with it. So there's no real outcome that you can say, and this is exactly what happened, other than we held up our end of the bargain. We don't know what happens. And like, so that to me, that's a tough case study, which goes back to why you need to have services pages. It's sort of a, chicken and egg, at least, or maybe I'm using the wrong analogy. It's a catch 22, or like, it's water over a bridge. Who knows?
No, it's definitely chicken and egg, because it's like, well, we can't build it without the customers, but without a customer, we can't build a thing. And there is a dividing line too. Like one thing is, for us, the case studies are just, hey, people have given us money and we've done good things for them. Like that's really all it is. That's just to dispel that, like, we're not a bunch of people, who were busy making popcorn at the ballpark last week is our job, and now suddenly are AI experts, like processing data and answering questions is the part of it. But yeah, we really, hopefully over time you keep transitioning so that the case studies are actually, the problems people have today or what they're looking at implementing today that's new. And so it speaks directly to that. But if nothing else, at least it's just proof that, again, we're a reputable business.
So let's say we want to redo our services pages. So first and foremost, we want to start with a very basic, our favorite framework, which is the 5 Ps. So I'm saying I want to redo the pages because I can't stand it anymore, but that's not a great reason to redo anything, especially if you have limited time. So if we're to go through the 5 Ps correctly, so purpose, people, process, platform, performance. Purpose, we want to update the services pages so that people know how to hire us. That's a fairly straightforward purpose. Like we want to make our services pages align with the pain points of our ideal customer profile so that they recognize this is, this is the solution I'm looking for. And at some point, I think we'll be able to do the same exercise with our case studies. People. So we have our ICP, which we already have documented. And then we have you and me as CEO and head of business development to sort of say, does this track? This is what people are asking for. And then me as the web intern, who is then going to be making the changes on the website. Process.
Management and IT.
I mean, in a small business, you just got to do what you got to do. Process we'll go over in a second, but there is actually a process that we're going to go through to get from this page to an ideal, a better page. Platform, we have our website, we have Google Gemini, and we have some PDFs. And then performance, it'll be a longer measurement plan, but the ultimate performance is that we get hired more. The immediate performance is that we have pages that better align with our ICP. And one of the ways that we're going to find that out, one of the ways we're going to measure is we're going to create a scoring rubric. So if you haven't created a scoring rubric before, we've done this in past episodes. Go to trustinsights.ai/YouTube. Go to our So What playlist. We've built scoring rubrics. We've built ICPs. We've built a sales playbook, which is one of the tools that we're going to be using today. We've done all of those in past episodes. So check those out, because I don't want to waste your time today watching me try to fumble through how to put all those things together. I sort of did the magic of a cooking show, got it all prepared, and I'm just going to swap and take things out of the oven.
That's it. That's what they want to see, the magic.
They want to see the magic. I am going to start with a blank slate. So usually when Chris does stuff like this, I find that he's doing deep research reports and, he's got code going on. I'm not going to be doing any of that today. I'm going to be keeping it really simple as I possibly can, while making sure that the foundational materials that you have are really solid. So I guess before we even get into putting things into Gemini, John, what are some of the foundational materials that you think we should have in order to be successful with this effort today?
Yeah, well, you mentioned ICP, because I know we've done that. And then sales playbook, we put that together. I don't know if you're going to go into style guide if that's necessary, but those just off the top of my head, those are 3 that we've had, geared and ready to go.
I think yes to the style guide when we get to executing it on the website, which is likely a different episode. I think today what I'm after is that punch list of here's the ways in which you need to update your messaging to better align. So let's go ahead and get all of those things together. So I've already downloaded our ICP. I've downloaded our sales playbook. You can get those out of your drive as well. And then I am going to say today we are going to clean up and align the services pages for insights. The alignment will be with the ICP provided and the sales playbook also provided. Now, one of the things we're going to do is we're going to score these pages on a few different factors. So when we do this, what we do is we typically build what's called a scoring rubric. So when we've done this internally, we usually do it on a scale from 0 to 100. And I can show you. So we keep all of our stuff in Google Keep if you're wondering what you're looking at. So what I've gone ahead and done already is I've built the scoring rubric, and we keep all of our prompts and everything in Google Keep for easy use. So they're reusable. So I don't have to build it over and over and over again. I've already done it. I can do it, like I can use it whenever I want to. So you can see total points 100. So we're going to do major categories: strategic alignment to value proposition, ICP alignment, relates to ICP business goals, target role alignment, page title and heading clarity and appeal, clear value proposition and next steps, market relevance and timeliness, relevance to current landscape, connection to industry needs and emerging trends, core it's easy for me to say, core competencies, showcases trust, insights, expertise, AI and ML and data focus, so on and so forth. So there's a lot of different elements in here that I like this because it's really thorough. It's not enough to just say we fix your data, which, to be fair, is where we started. When we launched the company, our motto was we light up dark data, but then we realized pretty quickly nobody knew what dark data was and how we would light it up. Like, are we setting it on fire? Are we shining a flashlight on it? Like, what are we doing? So there was a lot that we had to contend with.
We're always lighting it up. This is it.
So this is pretty extensive. So that's why I went ahead and did this ahead of time. So I'm going to copy this and say the way that we will evaluate each page is with a scoring rubric, instructions included. So let's see what happens. So basically, our goal is to take our existing services pages, see what the heck is on them, and how well they currently align, and what we need to do to fix them. So this is saying, before I can help you evaluate your services pages, I need the content of those pages. Please provide the text or links to the Trust Insight Services pages you would like me to score using the rubric. So I could go ahead and list all of our links, but what I've done is I've already taken some screenshots. So let me start with this page. Please score this. And I'm going to put this into Canvas so that it's easier to see the results. So what I did was I took our marketing strategy services page. I just went ahead and took a screenshot of the entire page. And so let's see if I break this, or let's see if it works. But what we should get is some score on the range of 0 to 100 that's going to go through all of those different categories and tell us how well, and here we are. So out of 100, our Marketing strategy services page is scoring a 23. It's pretty weak.
Yeah, ICP alignment though is not horrible.
It's not
Industry
great.
relevance, that's a killer down there though.
Mm-hmm. Target role alignment, a 1. So addresses the pain points. It gets a 3 out of 7. I would like to see it more of like a 5 or a 6 out of 7. Relates to ICP business goals. That's a 2 out of 7. Not great, so that's not good. Value proposition and clarity. Only a 2 out of 5. Clear value proposition, 1 out of 5. I mean, I basically did a really crappy job of putting these together. So I get an F for the day. Market relevance and timeliness, 1 out of 3, 0 out of 2. Strengths and credibility, 2 out of 25 points total. We got 15. I mean, we're not looking good here. Page design and UX, 15, 5 out of 15 points. Ooh, yeah, this is not looking good. SEO, 3 out of 10 points. I mean, so we can only go up from here, John.
Say, Gemini, come on, tough guy. Show us what you can do.
And so we got a pretty crappy score. So we got 23 out of 100. So, okay, that's not great. Given the information from our sales playbook, what should we do to better align this service page? Please give us a task list and see what happens. Because that's basically what you want to do for every page. And so we're going to go through a couple and see what happens. So what I like about using Canvas is you can sort of see in real time, it's creating almost like just a document for you that you could copy and paste into a Google Doc or a Word doc or whatever, hand off to someone and say, here's your instructions. And what I like about how it's structured this is it's taken, here's everything wrong, but here's the action. So let's see, this task list is designed to help you revise your marketing strategy services to better resonate with your ideal customer profile and support your sales process, leveraging insights from the Trust Insights sales playbook, which we uploaded as part of the initial prompt. So phase 1, strategic alignment value proposition. It wants us to revise the title and main heading, change the page title, and then it goes through why, the rationale. So we have the sales playbook reference. So for example, instead of marketing strategy services, it's saying you could be data-driven marketing strategy, unlock actionable insights with Trust Insights, or transform your marketing AI-powered strategies for measurable growth. I kind of like that second one, but how is that landing with you, John?
Yeah, I like the one pull from the sales playbook, demystify AI, deliver actionable insights. That really rings. I kind of like that. The data-driven marketing, that just kind of strikes me as trite and tired. But yeah, I think, anything of like use AI, get demonstrable results. Like, yeah, that's definitely solid.
So then next we have to immediately articulate our unique value proposition in the opening paragraphs. Again, good call out. We haven't done that. So as an example, at Trust Insights, we cut through the noise, empowering organizations to demystify artificial intelligence and transform their data into actionable revenue-driving strategies. Led by world-renowned experts, Christopher Penn and Katie Robert, we provide practical, ethical solutions to bridge the gap between data potential and measurable business outcomes. That's not terrible. And considering we have nothing up there now, it's better than what we got.
Yeah, I think we could chop 2/3 out of that and make it a little tighter. That's definitely buzzword bingo, that one.
Yeah, for sure.
No term left untouched.
But given that we have nothing, so let's see. Integrate ICP pain points and business goals throughout the service description. So this is a big one. So for each services listed, digital customer journey, predictive forecasting, attribution modeling, brand measurement, explicitly state the pain point it solves, and so on and so forth. So for example, instead of understand trends and seasonality, say, I wouldn't say this because this is silly, for strategic Sarahs, CMOs, and VPs of marketing struggling to allocate budget effectively, our predictive forecasting helps you cut wasted ad spend by identifying optimal timing for campaigns, directly boosting your ROI. Minus the goofy beginning, I think that is a stronger statement.
Yeah, I don't think we need the personas there a little bit. Especially operational Olivia. All I can think of is that singing pig. We don't.
Yeah, we don't need that.
We don't need
but for the digital customer journey, are you a marketing leader struggling to see the true impact of your multi-channel efforts? Our digital customer journey analysis helps you understand every touch point, revealing which channels truly drive conversion and enable you to optimize your marketing spend for maximum impact. That's much clearer than what we have up there now.
Yeah.
Unless you have me reading it, and then it's just a jumble of mumbles menino. And so it continues to go through, if we implement all of these things. So what I'm actually, it is quite the list. So I want to ask it and then move on to another page. If we implement all of these actions, what would our score likely be? Because here's the thing. It's still artificial intelligence. Gen AI hallucinates. And so you want to make sure you're building these checks and balances into your process before just saying, oh yeah, these are all great ideas. Like you can use a gut check, but like, I want to know, okay, so this is saying if you were to thoroughly implement all the actions, your score would likely be 100 out of 100. What is the likelihood that that's true, John?
Yeah, that's that's definitely a little hallucination going on there.
But I think what I like about this, even if we don't get to 100, I think we can continue. Like, I would take a look at this and start chipping away and say, okay, we can do some of these things. The other thing you can do is, let's look at that task list. Please prioritize the most important and impactful tasks first. Because right now it's just going through and listing them in order of the way the scoring rubric has them. But if I was to hand them off to someone like myself, the web intern, I would want to know where to start because it's still a lot of information. And
with any rubric too, it's by stacking. You want to stack by the ones that are going to give you the most points for the least effort.
Mm-hmm. So let's see, prioritized. So this thing, here's a prioritized list, but it's not actually showing me the prioritized list. So it might just need like a hot second. All right. So we're going to pretend that actually showed up. Great.
We can do a quick plug there. If you want the rubric, if you go over to Analytics for Marketers and ask nicely, there's a chance you might get it. Members over there get all kinds of insider tips and stuff. So be sure to swing over there to see what's going on.
So I'm just asking it to display it. But if it won't, then we're going to move on to the next score. Because again, it's artificial intelligence. Sometimes it's just having a moment. And that's not something that we have. So this is what it's working on. Sure. Okay, great. Let's move on. Please go back to the scoring rubric. And I'm doing this in Canvas so that you can sort of see and follow along, but you don't have to do this in Canvas. It'll give you the results without it being in Canvas. And sometimes that would actually probably speed up the way in which it's working. So you can see, okay, so it's pulling the scoring rubric back up. So, okay, so let's say we're starting fresh, or you could just start a fresh chat, totally your choice. So I've taken a screenshot of a different set of pages. So this is going to be our measurement strategy page. So we did marketing strategy. Now we're doing measurement strategy. Why I put them in two different buckets, you'd have to ask me 2 years ago. I couldn't tell you. Okay, let's go ahead and score this services page. and see what happens. I think as that's working, I think going back in time, my thinking was, well, marketing strategy is different from measurement because marketing is sort of like what you're doing, and measurement is how you determine success. And there's a lot of people who are struggling with measurement. So I was thinking they were two different things. But now I'm like, well, maybe we've just like described things poorly. So I had to pull them apart so differently. And it just feels overwhelming because when you get to the services page, again, there's a lot of things like, why is marketing strategy different from artificial intelligence consulting, which is different from strategic consulting? Like, I don't know. Ask me 2 years ago.
Right. Well, and the world was just different then, because we would get a lot of stuff where people were coming in saying, hey, I want, help specifically with Adobe Analytics or with Google Analytics. Like there were specific tools people wanted help around. Like they didn't care about the overall strategy. They were like, I just need to fix this one thing. And that's just been blown to bits with new tools coming out every week now. It's a complete
That's true. Yeah, I guess I should be a little more gentle on myself, but you know me, I'm not gonna. All right, so our measurement services page gets a 28 out of 100, which is a little better than our marketing strategy, but not by much. So our strategic alignment, total of 40 points, only gets 25. So we're better than half. We got like 60%. That's not terrible, not great. It addresses the ICP pain points, 4 out of 7, business goals, 3 out of 7, no industry relevance, but it does have target role alignment. Let's see, value proposition, clarity, not great. Market relevance, not great. Oh, relevance to current landscape. We get a 3 out of 3. I'm taking the win on that one. Explanation. The explicit mention of Google Analytics 4 migration to the GA4 transition is highly relevant and timely. I'm going to go ahead and say that's another hallucination because that is not true anymore. That is a couple of years out of date.
Yeah.
But 2 years ago, I would have scored a 3 out of 3. Let's see. Our strength and credibility, we get 15 out of 25 points. Okay. Our team and real world application. We get 4 out of 5 for case studies. That's pretty good. And so again, not great scores. So the next step we would say, gotcha, not great. Please let me know what I need to do in order to increase my alignment. And see what it says. So now it's going to come up with a prioritized measurement services pages task list, which is interesting because I didn't ask for a prioritized list, but it's borrowing from the last set of instructions. And of course, it's not going to show it to me for some reason.
Right. Will it choke again on the same?
Yeah. And that's fine. Let's pretend it showed. But basically, I'm assuming it's going to be a lot of the same advice that we got in the previous was, make sure you're actually stating the problem. Here's the solution. Here's how you have a unique value proposition. So I could actually borrow probably a lot of the advice from the marketing pages for this particular measurement section. It's all the same problem. So we can go ahead and move on. So let's see, we can do a couple more. I took one of our newer pages, which is our ideal customer profile generation. Okay, let's go ahead and score this page. So our ICP generation is exactly what it sounds like. So one of the things that I find interesting about an ideal customer profile is a lot of companies have a buyer persona, but a buyer persona works with the assumption that somebody is already in your funnel, that they already know what the problem is that they're trying to solve. And so that's where a lot of the playbook comes in, versus an ideal customer is someone you don't necessarily have yet. So this page, which is newer, gets a 48 out of 100. So this one's already off to a better start. And because it's newer, we used newer information, we use newer techniques. So I'm not surprised that this one scores a little bit higher. Still not great, still less than half, but again, room to grow. So it would be ironic if the ICP generation did not address the ICP pain points. So that gets a 6 out of 7, and it relates to the ICP business goals, a 6 out of 7. So actually, I'm going to breathe a little easier. That one feels pretty good.
Yeah, the tool's doing what it's supposed to do because that was how that was trained.
So let's see. Value proposition, 4 out of 5. That's pretty good. Clear next steps, 3 out of 5. Target role alignment, 6 out of 8. So let's see where it is we're actually falling down. That's a 4 out of 5. That's a 4 out of 5. Data storytelling, actionable insights, that's a 3 out of 5. So there's some places, real world examples and use cases, 0 out of 5. That's totally fair because at the time when we launched it, it was brand new. We only had ourselves and a few beta testers, but the tool hadn't been used yet. So now that we have that information, now that we've done it, we can add that back in. Visual appeal and professionalism. We're getting slammed on that one. It's always been a 0. So we're not that professional, John.
They want the logo bigger. They want, more cowbell.
And then we go into the SEO stuff. So not terrible. There's definitely more that we could be doing. Like, okay, great. Please create a task list for how I can so let's see. It's probably going to come up with another list that I can't see. But again, I can look at these problems and the way that it's scored and really kind of know what it is I need to do. But it is nice for it to give me suggested tasks. All right. So it's going to come up with another list that I can't see. I'm not Chris, and I couldn't tell you why it's not actually showing these things. So we're going to do, let's see, one more page. And this is, please score. Whoops. Please score this page. I'm actually going to do 2 pages. So this is our strategic consulting services. This one is mostly just text, no visual elements. So I'm sure we'll get dinged on that. This one gets a 28 out of 100. Oh, I got a lot of work to do, John. I'm tired already.
Always copywriting. That's the name of the game.
Well, and let me ask you, in your experience, how often, and I know, with AI, everything's changing, but how often should someone update their services pages? And how deep should their services pages be?
Yeah, that's a good question. I mean, a couple of years ago, I'd say it's got to be, as close to dead on as a product list as it can be. But I think things are, again, with searches shifting and changing so much, it's only critical that you've got the key areas listed. I don't think you need a ton of detail, but it just needs to be crystal clear as far as if you've got this problem, we've got the answer. And that's about it. Like, I don't think spending a lot of time on process or explaining the how of what you're doing is really going to help you that much. For this though, it's like, it's got to be the right language. It's got to have case studies, and you do need, some level of design, but yeah, I don't know. It's always a moving target. Again, I think if you get to a point where your product matures, you'll come to that point where every quarter you want to totally clean it up and add the new features. But we're more along the lines of like every year it's a complete site revamp almost from zero.
Yeah. And that's, I think one of the next steps that I would probably do is give a lot of that information to the model I'm working with to say, how can I create these services pages in a way that I don't need to constantly try to update them and change them, but they're still informative. So what is the information, the minimal amount of information I can provide so that I'm not constantly chasing the messaging to make it as accurate as possible? Like, how do I get it accurate the first time without getting into, to your point, getting into the weeds of the how and all of that constantly needs to be changed? Because you want to make it compelling enough that someone wants to reach out to you. And I think that's the tricky part. And that's why we've included our sales playbook. I could have just included our ICP, but I wanted to include our sales playbook because that's really the toolkit, John, that you use to actually sell stuff. And so that's the whole point of the website, is to sell stuff.
Yeah, that alignment, it's great to see when there's key phrases and topics that are pulled into the sales point, because yeah, that's right what buyers are looking for.
All right, so our strategic consulting services, another 28 out of 100. We got a lot of work to do. There's some good, there's some improvements. We're not scoring zeros on addressing pain points and relates to the business goals. So that's good. That means that when we created these, we had a good understanding of who we were selling to. So that to me is actually, I'm going to put that in the win column, that we haven't scored zeros on that we've gotten 3s and 4s and 5s. Obviously, strategic consulting services is clear, but very generic and unappealing. Wow. Thanks for that. That's kind of a dagger in the heart. Relevance to current landscape, explanation, emerging tech and skills gap analysis are relevant to market trends. The mention of ChatGPT, machine learning, digital marketing, and organizational behavior in the intro is good. While good, ensure emerging tech section explicitly links to current pressing issues like generative AI strategy or ethical AI implementation, which is interesting because we have a whole separate AI consulting page. So I think the action there would be to actually combine those two pages. I don't think we need both, because this talks a lot about emerging tech and that kind of thing. And we would want to make sure it's not so overwhelming that people are like, it's too much. I don't know. Again, I still don't know how to hire them. So you get all the same feedback here. So again, I'm not going to bother to create the task list because I know it's just going to sort of bork on that one. But I do want to bring up one page that, one of the things we pride ourselves on is we have a deep bench of learning and understanding and expertise in artificial intelligence. And so for those who don't know, Chris and I have been working together for about 10 years, and we've been working in the AI space for that long. Chris for even longer, probably more like 15. And so we have a deep understanding. So you're like, oh, well, I'll bet their AI consulting page is really informative. Well, guess what? It's not. Let me ask you this question, John, because Chris and I don't agree on this point. So Chris put a video that he thinks people are going to watch to learn more. In your experience, are people going ahead and watching the video, or are they like, well, there's a video, I just want them to tell me what it is?
Yeah, well, I mean, one thing you do is just click through to YouTube, see how many views that's got on it. Is it pulling compared to the number of hits on the page? But usually for website stuff, people are just looking for quick text answers. They don't want to wade down through a video. That's kind of bearing the lead.
Yeah.
So
I'm just grabbing a screenshot of this while you're talking, because I want to score it, because I feel like we can do a better job, and it might even be we can take the transcript from the video, clean it up, remove the video, and put the text on the page. That might be the easiest solution, depending on what it is that Chris said, 2 years ago when we created this page.
And having kind of the 3 key points of that video as the lead before they get down to the video, like that's definitely cutting a lot of the legwork out of it for the user. That's sound UX.
All right, so this is going to be our AI consulting services, which
and here we go.
Theoretically should be our bread and butter. I guarantee it's one of our weakest pages. Oh, it's not. It gets a 40 out of 100. I stand corrected. I owe Chris a cookie.
Let's see what it has to say.
Yeah.
ICP 5 out of 7.
Because if you remember, it does have an introduction. So it's not just a video. So I feel like this paragraph right here is doing a lot of the heavy lifting.
Yeah. Because I mean, it's a lot less content than the other pages. So that's interesting. It's like a short amount of targeted stuff is actually bringing you more points than having it be, a lot more description.
And I think to your point, like what you were saying earlier, is people they just want to know what problem you solve. So we've been spending a lot of time trying to explain how we do it, why we do it. It's like, cool, they can call us and find that out. They just need to know that there's a problem, we solve it, they can call us, bing bang boom, done. Like, we need to make the transaction easier for them. And I think right now we're kind of standing in our own way in terms of, allowing people to approach us.
Yeah, I don't know that this analysis here would seem to back that up. That I see a lot of 3 out of 3, 4 out of 5, 5 out of 5.
Yeah. For just that paragraph, because it's not, so conveys team expertise. There's a prominent video of Chris, but I'm nowhere in that. So if anything, it should be a 0 out of 5. And I'm going to change the scoring rubric to say, if Katie's not mentioned, tank the score.
Well, there you go. The suggestion is include you.
Yeah.
There you go. That's that 5th point. See, that's why it's coming up short.
Yeah. So that's really interesting. So I think, there's value in having the video, but I think that we could do better about including a little bit more content on the page. But to your point, not too much more. We don't want to go crazy with it. And so I just want to do one more page now that we're sort of in the weeds of this, because the other thing, because we have a lot of this, the other thing we have is our academy, where we sell all of our courses. So if you have checked out our prompt engineering course, or our generative AI for marketers course, or our AI use cases course, these are all listed here. I actually want to put this page through, because this is a lot of our revenue, our passive income as well, is our academy. And we want to make sure that people know, here's what they're getting and here's what they can learn. So I'm going to put this page through. I'm just taking a quick screenshot of it for those of you wondering what I'm doing.
Yeah, this will be interesting, because this is, right at the bullseye as far as the training courses. This is the stuff that we're sharing with everybody. And pretty much even a lot of the consulting and on-site training that we're doing is just an extension of those courses there. But it's great because they're, customized for those audience, so that they get, they're not just doing the generic examples. They actually get to do stuff that they can put to work the next day.
Right. So there's my screenshot. And we get a lot of requests once people like see the courses for, as you can see on this page. So we have the half-day workshops. We do public speaking. Chris and I both do shows throughout the year, both in person and virtual. So I think we just need to get better, and again, using this prompt, using the scoring rubric to figure out, where are we falling down? Where are we weakest? And keep in mind, I put this scoring rubric together, but now looking at it, I think there's some places where we can improve the scoring of things that are like relevant, things that aren't as relevant. Like, it's all a matter of, refining it. Like, you don't have to accept it and go, well, this is what the scoring rubric said. It's like, well, maybe the scoring rubric's wrong.
Obviously, the rubric is wrong.
Obviously.
Yeah, but what did you get? I am definitely totally interested in, like, what's the raw score? 49. That's not the highest scoring yet.
That's our highest score so far. That's pretty good. All right. ICP, 6 out of 7. Business goals, 5 out of 7. That's pretty good. Industry relevance, we got to actually be more clear about that. Sure. Target role alignment, 7 out of 8. That's pretty strong. Value proposition, 10 points. Clear value proposition, next steps.
Right. Yeah, I'm not buying that one. I mean, it's like click to take the course. It's not. It's very clear value prop. I mean, the language isn't there, but.
Well, what's interesting. So, and maybe this is the problem, because maybe it's not clear that these are hyperlinks on the page. So that's
right. That's a good point. It should, at the end of the paragraph too, it should just be a big start this course now button.
Right. Because if you click on it, it takes you to the page of the curriculum and all that. So like, it is actionable, but we're not as clear as we could be that it's actionable. So perhaps it does need, even though these are hyperlinks that bring you right to that course, there could be a like start now button, And that's not a huge lift to add that in. Let's see, strengths and credibility, 15 out of 25. I mean, that's been pretty consistent. AI and ML, 5 out of 5. That I would hope so, because all of our courses are pretty much about learning how to use AI. Data storytelling and insights, 4 out of 5. Conveys team expertise and authority, 4 out of 5. Clearly state that these courses are developed and taught by Chris Penn and Katie. That's probably a good idea. They probably want to know that it's us. No case studies yet, but we do have testimonials that we can start to add on the page. Kelsey, I'm making a note for you. Let's see. Visual appeal, 0. Yeah. Well, see, but this is what happens when you have sort of a, homegrown DIY, and you yourself, talking about me, are not a web designer. Doing my best, man.
Yeah. More flaming logos. We need flaming spending logos.
So yeah, a lot of it's the same, but I'm actually pretty impressed at how high that one scored. That's pretty good. So I'll take that. So for 45 minutes, John, we have been talking about how unaligned the Trust Insights services pages are with the ICP. But I feel like this, I'm hoping, so if we go back to the 5 Ps, the goal of today was to understand how we can better align our services pages with our ideal customers so that they can buy something. The people, we have our ICP, we have you and me. Our process, we just outlined it. So basically what you would want to do is you would want to have your ICP clear. If you don't, and if you missed it, we build those for you right here, ideal customer profile. But you want to have that. You don't have to have a sales playbook, but it does help if you want to get better, even more alignment with how your sales team is talking and messaging these services. And I would recommend building a scoring rubric so you can see specifically what parts of your services page need the most help. You can put whatever is important to you in that scoring rubric. I used one of our scoring rubrics that helps us understand things the way that we think about it. But now looking at the rubric, I'm probably going to update it to be a little bit more on track with what we're after. But so that would be the process. So you would have your ICP, you would build your scoring rubric, and then you would go ahead and score the pages in generative AI. I use Gemini, but then you would also come up with here's a task list. Here's what you need to do to fix these things. And then once you're done fixing them, rescore them to see if you improved it for better alignment. So you want to make sure you're doing that performance. So platform, Gemini, your website, performance, did we improve the score? So in this case, we have a 49 out of 100. If we go through and fix all the things, we would expect to see something more like an 80 or a 90 out of 100. And then the ultimate performance is that people buy more stuff.
That's it. More business. It's a wonderful goal.
Yeah. Whew, I'm exhausted. What did I miss, John? Anything else?
That's the rundown. That's solid. I think you go ahead and, like you said, you can swing over to analytics for marketers. Tell us about any site rework cases you've got going on. And if you want the rubric too, we can set you up with that. But strong run. It's good. And I'm excited that the current pages are outscoring the existing stuff. Like it's showing that it's been moving in the right direction, which is fantastic.
I think that really is, sort of the bright spot in what feels like pretty low scores is that the newer stuff, it is doing better. So, thank you for pointing that out, because you can very easily get bogged down in the nitty gritty of the scores. But to your point, John, you have to look at sort of that evolution of it.
Sounds good.
All right. I think that is it for today. Let's see if I remember how to close out the show.
Thanks for watching today. Be sure to subscribe to our show wherever you're watching it. For more resources and to learn more, check out the Trust Insights podcast at trustinsights.ai/TI podcast and a weekly email newsletter at trustinsights.ai/newsletter. Got questions about what you saw in today's episode? Join our free Analytics for Marketers Slack group at trustinsights.ai/analytics for marketers. See you next time.